with that, let me introduce Ned. For those of you who don't know him, I think pretty much everybody on this call probably knows him by now, but he has so much experience in the wilderness, specifically in the Sierra section, lots of snow travel experience as well. He has been a wilderness skills instructor for years. He has worked with the United States Forest Service as a wilderness ranger. He has been a paramedic, a wilderness EMT, and a wilderness EMT instructor. And he is the founder of Mountain Education, which promotes safety in the outdoors. So with that, Ned, you have the floor.
Boy, oh boy. Okay, guys, once again, thanks for attending. I know that there's other things to do in life than, listen to me carry on. But I appreciate that you want to be a little wiser, a little more knowledgeable, a little safer. And a lot of times that comes from, if you don't have the experience, it comes from listening to those people who have been out there. And I don't mean someone who did the trail last year or did it a couple years ago, and they did it, in that one window of time. So what you're realizing from, if you were attending last night, is that no matter when you go into the mountains, because of weather, the effects of weather, if you go into, say, the North Cascades in June after a normal winter, you're going to see something entirely different than if you, say you were a Seattle resident and you wanted to go backpacking, you'd probably choose August instead of June. But the thru-hiker doesn't often have the choice. You've got to start certain times to be able to go all the way, if that is indeed why you're out there. So environmental conditions, because they present themselves differently depending upon when you're there. A person who thru-hiked last year and they, say they left, mid-June from Monument 78 on the border. Well, last year we had a drought winter. I don't remember what the Pacific Northwest had, but they may say, well, hell, there wasn't a whole lot of snow. Tennis shoes worked just fine. I brought my micro spikes, never used them. There was a boot track, no big deal. Yeah, I'll have fun. And then, of course, you get the people who are athletically inclined, and they can pick up a skill, a sport in no time at all, or figure it out for themselves, how to balance, how to edge on their boots, how to make sure they don't fall down. They got it. So that when they comment the next year to the up and coming class, they're going to say, yeah, it's no big deal. I didn't have a clue. I never backpacked before, but I figured it out. You will too. But other people can't always do or have those talents that enable them to learn quickly. Some people are they're not dialed physically to be able to go into an environment that essentially is very harsh and foreign. When snow covers everything and the ground is not flat, it's steep, it's dangerous. Just at the outset, there's got to be a lot of respect for those conditions. So what I'm getting at is, I hope that with all of my, nearly 50 years now in the backcountry, 40 years teaching every year, from the Canadian border south to Kennedy Meadows south. Oh, I have done some down here. I did some teaching on Mount San Jacinto. I'm in Southern California, so I used to teach down here too. So got a pretty good idea what the conditions are like for you guys now, since we're addressing Southbound. So let's get to it. Today is largely going to be back and forth. I want you guys to be asking questions, feed off of each other, brainstorm, whatever. But what we're going to be talking about are the answers to the scary stuff that I may have brought up last night when we were talking about the cons of going. The pros, hey, man, this is why I'm going. It's great. I was able to finish school. Now I'm coming out here in June or July. It's killer. But as you have yet to find, there are a lot of people on the trail who have never done such a thing before. And they're very green and they don't know what they don't know. And so hopefully through these conversations, hey, did you get them? Looked like you were after a bug. No? Okay, sorry. But anyway, see, that's a trail thing. For all of us in the trail community, we all understand, you sit on a log, you sit on rocks, you deal with some discomfort, you got some bugs flying around, I'm going to grab it, whatever. We all do that and we think nothing of it, but that's the trail life. So anyway, I just happened to see you. So we're going to be talking about how to get around the cons. Now, what were those cons? What are the main ones? Well, if you remember, there were kind of two. So if you boil it all down, of course, there's lots of other ones, but they have to do with one, starting on steep surfaces and starting in steep terrain covered in snow that may or may not be going through thaw, and what that's going to mean as far as what you have to stand on and walk across that threatens your life. How do you deal with that? Second, maybe you're akin to that, is the fact that you're also out of shape. You don't have your trail specific muscles dialed in to be able to catch the fall, to be able to prevent the fall by being able to ankle in to a slope on snow so that you're standing on the uphill edges of your shoes. Those muscles got to get, developed, and a Stairmaster is not going to do it. Maybe if you find a nice steep lawn somewhere nearby in a park, you can practice going back and forth on that steep section of grass on the edges of your boots, or whatever footwear that you've got. So that might develop the muscles. And also the other thing, okay, so that's those two. And then because you're starting later, there's the speed issue. You only have so much time before first snow. And then there's the emotional loneliness thing, because you're going southbound, there are fewer people. After September, you're still on the trail for maybe another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever. And there's nobody else out there. And you're dealing with your own, in this case, sometimes weather fears and social stuff. It's like, man, you're thinking about Thanksgiving's coming up and I'm still banging through the Sierra and I got to hurry because, the clouds or whatever. And remember, anytime after about middle of September in the Sierra, temperatures start plummeting. So you're going to start having canteens freezing at night and whatnot. You're going to be below freezing. About mid-September into mid-October, that'll start. You'll get a lot of frost. You get a lot of small ice accumulations in various places along the trail. And that isn't so much a problem. You're pretty savvy at that point. You can see it, spot it, identify it, avoid it. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you're getting close to the end of things. And, you've got the emotional things like, I bet my family's having turkey dinner, whatever. I bet the relatives are over and I wish I could be there, but I'm all by myself in this cold as hell place. It's beautiful, but I'm getting tired. I still got, 2 months left to go, month and a half in Southern California, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks in the Sierra as you're hustling along. You will have dry trail, which is nice compared to the way you started. But now it's a hustle. So these are some of the things I want to talk about today and throw open to you guys, where you might just ask, how do you deal with the loneliness? How do you deal with not talking to somebody? But then when you look at my hike in 1974, I met one thru-hiker in 5.5 months. There wasn't anybody else out there. Even around the resorts after schools got out, the trail is not intended to be like the Appalachian Trail, where you're connected to society so close. Throw a rock and you're going to hit a house just down the way, and you're on the trail. So the PCT is more of a crest experience. You're out in the backcountry. So you're going to have a number of times where there's an inner struggle going on. And I don't want to throw that out there because that's really not talked about.